everyone. My name is Langston Clark, and I'm the founder and organizer of Entrepreneurial Appetite, a series of events dedicated to building community, promoting intellectualism, and supporting Black businesses. And today, this is the first of a number of special sessions where we're going to be talking with Black outdoor entrepreneurs. And it's my pleasure to introduce to you all Sonya and Necota Staples, who are the founders of Black People Off-Road. And I'm going to let them do their own introduction and kind of tell you all a little bit about what they do, because they can certainly do it just as better than I can. So Sonya and Necota.
Hey, Langston.
Yes, thank you for having us here.
Yes, it was such an honor.
Yes.
So I'm Sonya.
Yeah, and I'm Necota.
And together we're Staples InTents.
Yes.
So if anyone who doesn't know, we started as a YouTube channel. Our camping journey just started a few short years ago, where camping saved our marriage and we were able to fall in love with camping. And we created Staples InTents, which is our primary vehicle to help educate other people about camping and outdoors. Yeah. So that's really what we do primarily. And then we have a signature event, The Gathering.
The Gathering, which is an opportunity for us to share with people what it means to go and learn about camping gear, off-roading, and gear selection. And we think it's a wonderful opportunity to build community. So we've been really geeked about this year's preparation for it. It's been crazy trying to put it together.
Exactly. And then you mentioned Black People Off-Road. So what Black People Off-Road, it's an Instagram that we created to really create community around what we do, because we wanted to bring attention to not just me and Necota spaces. We wanted to bring attention to other people, other Black and brown people who are into outdoors and overlanding, and give them the opportunity to be seen. So yeah.
So thank you, because I wasn't sure, right? Staples InTents, Black People Off-Road. Staples InTents is a branding, or Black People Off-Road is a branding initiative or marketing initiative that came out of Staples InTents. Like, how did you all kind of transition into that?
Yeah, a longer story short, we saw a need for Black people to feel connected within the off-roading community and to start to network within that group. So we had an incident where we went out with some really dear friends. It was a mixed group of Black and white people, and we were up in Tennessee, and our white friends were concerned about everyone's safety, and they had brought a lot of weapons that made us
like, were y'all packing?
Right, and we were more concerned about, how did they get to that point? And if they are at that point where they're concerned about our safety, maybe we need to be having a very different conversation in America so that we can make sure that people get outside and feel comfortable and feel safe recreating outside. And if this is the activity or how we're choosing to recreate, we want people to feel comfortable and safe no matter who they are, whether they're Black, brown, whatever color, BIPOC, marginalized communities. We want them to feel comfortable when they go outside so that everyone can relax and learn to be more connected with nature.
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons that we also created our event, The Gathering, is because we wanted to give like an actual place for that community to come and commune and learn from us, from each other, and really grow and learn to love the outdoors the way we did.
Yeah. So give me 1 second. I'm going to turn off this fan because it might be picking up on the sound.
Okay.
So.
And we have one that's blowing over in this direction. I'm gonna do that as well.
Okay.
I might have to switch chairs.
All of the chairs squeak. They don't have any type of
anything under.
Yeah.
It's all good. I'll be able to edit it out. So.
See something. Hey. All right, that should help. No, that didn't. I thought it was
almost made it worse.
I know. So I want to learn more about the gathering, but before we do that, I just want to get some context to the audience. So I first met the two of you at the Winter Outdoor Retailer event in, was it February or January of 2022?
Yeah,
and I think at that time, the two of you were like right on the cusp. I feel like y'all said y'all sold everything and y'all was just getting ready to like take off and just start traveling the world out in the outdoors. So I think about, and this might be a stretch, the way that I'm thinking about things. I'm from Buffalo originally. And, you know, we just had the shootings there. And so anytime that there's like a tragedy or something like that, sometimes we get a little radical in our emotions. And so in my mind, I was like, you know what? Leaving is an option. You know, like we don't have to stay here. We can go travel the world. We can leave. And when I think about you all, and I don't know y'all's story, but I think about the stories I hear from other people who are working their job in a mainstream context. And they talk about the microaggressions, they talk about the glass ceilings, they talk about how, you know, I've been working at this job for 6 years. Excuse me. Somebody else who's white, been here 2 years, they already making more money than me. Or they just started and they're making more money than me. They're advancing more than I am. But when I ask for a raise, they just say, we can't do it right now, but I see you do it for these other people all the time. And so I'm just really interested in hearing about how y'all just got the courage to say, look, we out.
You want to start? You want me to start?
All right, bro. That's a different question.
So before either one of us start answering this question, right before we started this interview, we were discussing how we were really excited to be interviewed by you because you asked the tough questions.
Yeah,
that was one of the things that we noted from you at Outdoor Retailer.
Yeah.
So
we were looking forward to this.
Yeah, you know, we always go from the cuff. Our goal is to always be our authentic selves. So, you know, you ask us a question, you know, it's a good question. So you want to start?
No, tell your story. Yeah, tell your story.
So I think I said it before that camping saved our marriage. Necota and I, we were, as some of our friends have said, what they would consider to be like the ideal couple. We met at North Carolina A&T, HBCU.
Aggie Pride.
Aggie Pride. Fell in love there, got married, or moved to Atlanta, got married. And like most couples, you know, we were in a really tough place in our marriage. Just, you know, we grew apart. A lot of things happened. A lot of things happened that we don't necessarily need to go into right now. But when we started camping, we were on the brink of divorce. And camping allowed us the space that we needed to learn to communicate with each other, learn to work together, and learn to grow.
Yeah, learn to heal, learn to listen, learn to understand. There were a lot of gaps in our marriage that got us to that place. And camping has given us this opportunity to work on those things actively. You know, when we leave our home, we have to go through like very basic things about what a day should look like when you're camping. And those are the kind of things that we have learned to find joy in. And those are the kind of things that we share with people at the gathering. Yes. You know, we want you to learn how to make a fire because it connects you with nature in a very elemental way, all the way back to the beginning of time. So the gathering for us is an opportunity to connect people with other people who are like-minded, who really do understand the value of being outdoors, and who also find the value in other humans and wanting each other to have that kind of peace and whatever that space needs to be interpreted by each person. You know, because when we're going out there, we're going for a reason. We're going to escape from the realities of what life has put in front of us as challenges. And sometimes we're dealing with hurt, pain, and nature helps us deal with that.
Exactly. And I think, you know, kind of bringing that back to your original question, how do we get there? we went outside. Camping was a fluke. We were city people. We lived in downtown Atlanta. Like if you were to go to the Star on the map in Atlanta, that's where we lived. You know, we could look outside and see Centennial Park, you know, everything. That's where we lived. And we were both engineers and working for the man, you know, same story that you just told. But what we found is once we discovered camping, we went outside and we found joy. You know, we found like real happiness, and not just with each other, but with ourselves and with life. And like Langston, no joke, we went on our first like married couples camping trip, April of 2016. In July of 2016, in between those months, we camped like every month, once a month. But July, we went camping for Necota's birthday. And we were sitting there in the hammocks, enjoying ourselves. And we were like, you know what? We never see ourselves. Like, who is teaching people like us how to do something? Because we were just figuring it out. You know, there was no one to show us. And we know the hangups that we had with the outdoors. We know the hangups that Black people have with the outdoors. We talk about them all the time. But we created Staples InTents as that day as a vehicle to really help educate people and really inspire them to do the things that we see as limits. You know?
And to be open about and transparent about what that experience is, for better or for worse. You know, there's a lot of people, the Instagram world, social media world, that shows the really cool videos that I never get the camera angles right for, of like flawlessness. And we didn't experience flawlessness. And in not having a flawless experience, we decided that we should be open and transparent and say, this sucks, because nobody wants to go outside to have a good time or to escape from whatever reality that holds us there, and have a bad experience, because that then becomes stressful. And that is also a hang up that we know that a lot of people have, and that's across any kind of identifications that we have in life. Nobody wants to suffer. So how can we help people to have a good experience when they go camping is the point of Staples InTents, so that you can feel comfortable that you've come to the gathering and you went to a fire safety class, or you went to first aid or vehicle recovery, or whatever those classes that interest you, and you hear from people who are that look like you, that are experts in the industry or wherever it is that they've come from, or just decided to be present. What have you gained? You know, you've had a wonderful experience, maybe your first experience in outdoors, and it is an open and safe environment for you to learn and be at peace with other people that feel like-minded like you.
So I think, simply put, the passion is what got us there to that transition. You know, when we went outside, we really were better people. We argue less. We work through our issues quicker. You know, not that we don't have issues. We absolutely still have issues. But where we're going to stay tonight is what's on our mind. You know, so what we really did, we made a huge sacrifice. We gave up the comforts of, you know, our downtown Atlanta loft, you know, the engineering salaries that we were making, in order to like choose us, you know, to really say yes to us and provide the opportunity for other people to learn to connect with the outdoors and gain the same love that we had, you know.
It's interesting because engineering seems to be so sanitary, right? The sciences, everything has to be a controlled environment, but you all like literally rekindled your flame, like making fires in the outdoors.
Absolutely.
Choosing random.
And I just, you know, I think a lot of us wrestle with, and I know I made maybe a huge leap about us leaving, like leaving is an option, like after all the racial trauma, we could leave America. But I think it's just a huge step for Black folk to sit and realize that maybe the downtown Atlanta loft, the high paying salary, because those are all the carrots that we get from the mainstream society. You know what I mean? But the peace that you get and the love and the joy that you get being connected with nature is something in a lot of ways that has been taken away from us. So personally,
that has been taken away. Exactly.
Yeah. Personally, I've been reflecting on, and maybe it's because I'm getting older, I don't know, things that we do in the culture, in Black culture, that isn't good for us. Maybe we shouldn't be like reclaiming nigga. Like maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we shouldn't be using the B word all the time. I'm not trying to get on a moral soapbox, but in some ways, like when we think about Black people going outside, my wife tried to get me to go camping with her, like real camping, not glamping. Like when we first met, maybe like during that first year of marriage, and I was like, I'm not doing that.
I haven't it.
I'm not, we're gonna use the bathroom. I gotta sleep on the tent outside, in the tent outside, in the sleeping bag. And that's not a good thing for us. But not going outside, not climbing the mountain, or, you know, how do you all get other Black folk to break through that barrier of saying, I'm going outside? And I don't mean go outside to play, but I mean like we going outside.
We show them a kick-ass time. I mean, you see any of the YouTube videos,
Yeah, I saw
about the adventure. We ain't been able to get the telling the story part just right, but as far as like the experience of being outside, all thrills, my guy, all thrills.
Yeah. So,
and you know, there's a connectedness that comes from that presence of just being outside and trying to every day master the conditions that this particular location has given me, and to learn very rapidly so that we can enjoy ourselves and not suffer.
Exactly. So it's like through our YouTube, like Necota said, we show you this is what we do. This is how we have fun. This is the explorations that we go on. But then we created the gathering, which is you come and we're going to create the atmosphere. So you feel safe. So you feel secure. So all those things that mentally block you from going,
they melt.
They melt. And then you can focus on the experience.
Yeah.
You know, you can focus on like how fun it was to sit around the campfire. You can focus on the people next to you that are cooking hot dogs and, you know, just having a good time. You can focus on all those things and really,
or hear their stories.
Yeah, hear the stories about where they've been and truly enjoy yourself. Like, yeah. And I mean, the things that we have been able to do just because we embrace camping, you know, we just spent 2.5 months in Africa, in Southern Africa. We visited South Africa in 2015. That was an expensive trip.
Yeah.
It was an expensive trip. Okay. We were there for what?
3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Yeah.
We just went for 2.5 months and spent close to a little bit more than the amount of money. But
2.5 months.
Most people don't have 2.5 months to spend. So if they take their vacation that 3 weeks or whatever, it's just amazing the things that we've been able to do.
So y'all have made several jumps away from the mainstream, right? So one of them, and I'm hearing you say this without saying it, is that time is more valuable than money. And you all have increased the value in some ways of your time, but also your money. And what you talked about thought process, but like, how intentional were you all about, we're really gonna do this. We're gonna ease away from downtown. Like, what was the plan? Like, what were the steps? Because y'all engineers, like, did y'all have like some process that y'all went through, like A, B, C, D, or?
You know, there's a slippery slope.
Okay.
And the slippery slope to entrepreneurship started because we saw the value within ourselves. And the understanding of what that looks like really shaped a lot of our decision making. You know, we went to our first Overlanding Expo event and Overland Expo East, which is a wonderful event that is also built around connecting the overlanding community. I highly encourage people to, if they get into that kind of life, to explore it. But when we were there, we had an opportunity that was put in front of us that said, hey, you can make money. The thing was, we just didn't know business, and we still learning every day how to be more business savvy. So, but that slippery slope of, well, if we go and get the website or we go and get the LLC,
You kind of push yourself
just
into
sort of
it.
pushes you further and further, because, you know, that's when you're starting to learn and understand how money works, how business works, how relationships work. And we're still really, really green with this and have so much to learn. But that was essentially how we got into this type of entrepreneurship.
Yeah, and I think the same time we were going down the slippery slope of entrepreneurship, we were going down the slippery slope of outdoor adventure. Necota and I, you could probably ask anyone that knows us, they would always have considered us kind of adventurers, you know, in terms of how we vacation, how we do things. We're not resort people. So we always dreamed of traveling the world. Since we met at A&T in the physics department, Martina Hall, you know, because that's where we met and fell in love.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we did it within the bounds of what society tells us we should do. We work our jobs, we get 3-4 weeks of vacation. We will optimize our vacation ticket all at one time, you know, kind of cheat the system and take some sick times and, you know, holidays. You know, that's what we do. That's what we did. So it enabled us to do it. But when we discovered camping, within six, maybe 8 months of discovering camping, Necota, we had to have an off-road vehicle. So Necota got this truck. And then the next thing you know, we were going to Overland Expo and we were just doing all these things. And we created the lifestyle that we wanted ourselves to have.
And I do want to elaborate on this as an entrepreneur. Before as we were climbing this corporate ladder of what success has been determined in America, which is buy real estate, invest, and then maybe get yourself into some other stocks, bonds, all of the things that they tell you to put your money into, and you absolutely most certainly should.
You should.
Because
invest in yourself.
You have to invest in your future selves. You have to. And you're never going to miss that money. No matter how broke you are, you're never going to miss the money. But you will certainly know it when you get old. The money that you didn't set aside because you told yourself that you needed that additional 15%. Yeah. You know, so once you've gotten used to it, you can start to drive yourself towards, well, whatever it is I'm making at my job, I need to ask for at least 15% more so that I can make sure I account for that. That's a philosophy you can teach yourself about how to determine your own value. So when we were buying stuff, we were trying not to spend more money because we were terrible. I'm a terrible shopaholic.
Whereabouts of when?
For camping.
Oh, okay.
My first investment, I took money out of my investments and bought our first truck. Yes. And I did a lot of homework to get to that point in determining why that was the right truck to buy. So when you're thinking about yourself, at some point you do have to think about, how do I invest in me? Are we paying ourselves? Are we setting ourselves up for those same kind of things that enable us to have what we were, a carrot that was dangling in front of us by, you know, our jobs? How can we create it for ourselves? It starts when we look at ourselves the exact same way that a company does in that regard.
You value it.
This is this is how much something costs. This is what it costs to do a photo shoot for Staples InTents. This is what it costs to bring us out, because we've had to invest this amount of money in ourselves to create this business, to do this thing. That's where we are. And whenever we've seen cultures that embrace that, we see that they're very successful people or very happy people.
Yeah. So let me ask this. I'm not an overlander outdoorsy person. So I have no idea what an overlander is. What is overlanding for those of us who don't know?
Overlanding is vehicle dependent based travel. So you have a vehicle and it's pretty much configured in a way that you can cook, eat, sleep, and tend to nature.
You can kind of be self-sufficient.
Self-sufficient.
But there's always this heavy focus on like culture and
Yeah.
experiences with overlanding. Because anybody can travel.
Right.
Anybody can travel. You can go into your hotel room and you can just sit. You can go to a resort and you can sit. Plenty of people travel like that. But with overlanding, it's really about the journey that you go on and the experience, interacting with different people, the journey that you take on with yourself.
Interacting with different cultures and food, whatever a place has to offer, you being able to be more intimate with it in ways that you wouldn't as when you vacation, because your mind when you vacation is just, it thinks differently.
Exactly.
You know, you're like, I'm out here to have a good time, and why do I care? And you know, you're gonna go and do whatever it is, but when you're overlanding, you're thinking a little bit differently because it's a longer game for the experience.
Yeah, and I like to think that overlanding really combines travel and outdoors.
Yes.
It combines those two markets together.
Yes.
Because there's this huge outdoor component. You know, we sleep in tents, we cook our own food, we have camp stoves, but then there's also this huge travel component of overlanding.
Yeah. And just to be clear, you can overland any type of vehicle. It's not just these big SUVs, although some get bigger. There are some amazingly crazy conceptions, but it also goes down to bicycling. You know, there are people that over
people, they just travel however they can do it, however they want, they
motorcycle.
just travel.
Yeah, and it's really about the journey that you're taking and the cultures that you're meeting. So a lot of people in America think that, oh, I've driven from across, you know, one side of the country to another, I've overlanded, and to some degree you have, but overlanding, I think, really is embedded in the concept of being vulnerable, being exposed to a society and a culture that is very foreign to your own experience. And what does that look like? It teaches us humility. It teaches us what to value other humans, to learn about their land, to their relationship with nature. So overlanding, I think, opens you up in a way to cultural exchanges that traveling in your own country just doesn't give you. But you should certainly travel in your own country, because we got a dope country. America is really dope. Beautiful.
If you can get past all the killings, it's beautiful.
Yeah, the road trip across the country is I think every person in America should drive across the country at least once and interact in the country the same way. Try to learn about the different parts of the land, because we're some amazing people and have some very intimate relationships even with wherever we live, and they're worth seeing.
Exactly.
We really are.
And that's really the opportunity this year that we created with the gathering. Last year, the gathering was right outside of Atlanta. It was home for us, you know, and the community came out and they supported. But this year, we really wanted to give people the opportunity to travel. And that was some of the feedback that we got last year, is we want to go somewhere. We want to do something. And we really want to see the country. So this year with the gathering, it's in Southwest Colorado, in a small town called Van Corum. It's right in between Moab and Telluride. So
listen, I'm sorry. Wait, you gotta pause for a moment. Say the name of those two cities again.
Moab,
Utah.
And so Moab, Utah, it is like a huge outdoor destination.
Okay.
And the other place is Telluride, Colorado.
Yeah.
So hold on. I paused you there because it sounds like y'all are on a biblical journey. Right? It does. It does. It's like Sonya and Necota started in Moab and went to Telluride or whatever it is. It's like, this is like a deep, like, spiritual journey y'all on. Y'all writing like the book of Staples. That's what it sounds like.
I won't go. I acknowledge the connections there, but it is a wonderful journey to have. I cannot pretend that we feel privileged and honored to be in this position in life. We really do.
Exactly. And if we can share what we've experienced, just a little bit of it, with someone, it's like we have won.
Yeah.
We have absolutely won. You know, the number of people that we've had to tell us how inspired they were by us, how proud they were of us by taking this trip the way that we did it to Southern Africa. Like, it's been insane, but it started by taking a trip across the country.
Yeah.
You know, which is something that so many people can't fathom.
Yeah.
So let's get people together, create these communities so you can travel across the country together, meet up in a place, have a banging ass time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the video from the gathering last year, but it was a dope.
It looked like it too.
Yeah.
It was nice. I think.
So I want to hear about the gather, because I know I pulled you away from like describing what it was and how you all are going to Colorado, I think you said.
Yeah.
But I want to point out something that I noticed in the YouTube video. And for those of you who are watching and listening, I'll put a link to the video I'm talking about with this posting. And Necota, if I remember correctly, you're a Q, right? And it was like everything that I imagined like a Q to be stereotypically, like at a barbecue outside, like you were doing. The catfish was being fried. Somebody was on the grill. The music was nice. It just wasn't homecoming. It was in the woods.
It was in the woods.
It was in the woods. And so what I appreciate about the two of you is that like the black culture is not limited to the spaces that we typically think it's limited to. You can have a good time. You can fry the cat. All the things that you think you're gonna miss being in the city, you can still get that in the outdoors. And maybe even then some. So sorry for taking away from the gather. I do want to hear about, you know, gathering part 1 and gathering part 2 and what that looks like as well.
So I appreciate the interjection, because the way you told the story and relating it to homecoming, we all Aggies right here. Yeah. So for you to draw the parallel between the gathering and homecoming is huge to me, because it really was that same familiar feeling that you feel when you walk on the yard.
Yeah.
That's how the gathering felt. Yeah. You know, it felt like family. It felt like home. Yeah. And this year, we're trying to take that same experience somewhere else so that people can have that same comfort in other places, parts of the country. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Come and have that same kind of Southern experience. I mean, because we are steeped in the South. But I will say this, for what the gatherings are embedded in, I think is stretching yourself. Thinking of yourself seeing yourself doing something that you wouldn't feel comfortable doing because of whatever society has told us, or whatever negative experiences that we may have experienced, whether they're cultural or actually in someone's life. So when we are talking about what the gathering represents and how it comes into this comfort of homecoming, it's embedded in stretching yourself to go somewhere and still have that same kind of energy, that same kind of piece, but you've done something that you would have never associated yourself with doing because of whatever.
Exactly. And we all know that wherever we go, you can always find a piece of home. You know, so we want to help people find that piece of home, that place where they can relax out in nature. And we want to meet everybody where they are. You know, you don't have to be a hardcore camper to come to the gathering. Everybody don't want to sleep in the tent. And we respect that, because at one point in our life, we didn't want to sleep. Just not too long ago, we didn't want to sleep in the tent. So there's cabins. Yes. So at the location this year, there are going to be 12 cabins. There are going to be a few like RV Airstream trailers that people can rent. There are glamping tents. There's like, if you can feel comfortable there, we have a place for you. And we just want everybody to come and just experience it.
So this is how I imagine it. Normally, if we look at like the development and the modernization of humanity, you're going from being outside, sleeping on the ground in nature, to all the modern sort of amenities and comforts that we have in our society. But what it seems like to me is that you all are like doing the reverse. Okay, first year at the gathering, you're gonna glamp. But then you're gonna see some Black people over here who are like in their truck. Then you're gonna see some other Black people who are over here in a tent outside. And maybe you'll get to the point where you're like, you know what?
I might be able to do that.
Right. And I think there's tremendous value in being able to unplug from like y'all are like the opposite of Black Mirror. This is like, y'all know the Netflix series Black Mirror? It's like y'all taking us out of the Black Mirror. Wow. And it's a dope thing to think about, because one, taking a group of people who were in Atlanta, right? Who Black folk are comfortable in Atlanta. I don't care what nobody says. Black people are comfortable in Atlanta.
And I'm sorry, it was really hard for us to leave Atlanta.
Right? Yeah.
Because we were very comfortable.
Yeah. But even to get some Black people to go to Colorado or close to Utah, you know, what does that do for us? Like, we have a right to all 50 states.
All of it.
All of them. But we were like, yo, ain't no Black people in Utah. Ain't that many Black people in Colorado other than Denver. So I just think the things that you all are doing is really a positive unplug for us. Are there any, like, do y'all have any examples of people who you have seen like start to make the transition along with you? And how has that looked for the people who are part of the community that you're building?
Yeah, that's something that's very tearful at points. I mean, just, you know, because it happens like a spark. And it's like, you can see it, and then it's like this instantaneous, and they call you and they tell you that they've done something. Like our brother-in-law's mom came to the gathering. She was a teacher, how many years? Like 40 something, 40?
I don't know. I mean, her son is almost 50, so she's still teaching. So,
and she was supposed to work for like another year or so.
Yeah, she was supposed to retire in April.
Yeah, and she retired the Monday that she got back.
Yeah, she got back home and she was like, you know what? There is way more to life than this. Yeah. That was her experience after the gathering.
Yeah. And Ryan,
one of our good friends, Necota's old co-worker, amazingly talented photographer. He was one of our photographers for the gathering, but he came to the event to support us because he's our friend and he photographed for us. Did not expect for his world to be rocked, but he's told us, and he's actually on one of our videos, he bought a Jeep right afterwards. Wow. And he said, the gathering changed my life.
Yeah. And I mean, he's been wonderful support for us. He's a really dear friend, but his connection to nature is seeing that spark. And like, I'm looking at his IG account. What is it? Something Toy King. We have to put it in the footnotes here.
Tonka Trails, you got a red Trails. I don't know, but
I think it's Tonka Trails. But forgive me, Ryan. But he's just blossoming in his own right, and his off-roading skills is like going out the roof.
Yeah.
And it happened overnight.
It happened overnight, and I think even like deeper for me is to see like kids. Yeah. Like we took our niece and nephew, they were 6 and 2 camping. This is when we, like probably the first year we were camping. Their parents went on vacation, and my sister, she said that like months after the camping trip, my niece, she was like trying to make fire with 2 sticks. Like, I'm camping. And now my nephew, he is mountain biking. He said the other day he wanted to go to North Dakota and South Dakota. Who wants to go to North Dakota and South Dakota?
In Delaware.
In Delaware.
We were like, why Delaware?
Why Delaware?
Yeah. I haven't been. It's like, I like how you think.
Good point. Yeah, so, you know, there are countless stories. Yeah. People, they DM us, you know, about how we've inspired them to, in their relationship, to go outside and try something different. Yeah. And then they were able to reconnect. Yeah. Numerous stories. Yeah. And
they don't stop.
Yeah, they're also touching. And it really, that is what keeps us going. Like,
yeah, that's easy.
We made the decision because we're better people for it.
Yeah.
but it's hard. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Just like going to work every day wasn't easy. Paying bills wasn't easy. This ain't easy either.
Yeah.
But what keeps us going is all of that, all the people that tell us that we inspire them, and you know how we can see our influences on other people. We even had friends to tell us, you know what, we need to get together because we're gonna take our kids camping. Just because I don't like camping and it's not my thing, doesn't mean it's not gonna be my kids.
That's right.
The influence.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, what
Yeah.
kind of conversation is that for a person to have because of where our pursuit of our passion?
Yeah. And like, understand, Langston, these are our same friends from 6 years ago that didn't want to hear anything about camping.
Mhm.
They didn't want anything of it.
Nothing.
Yeah, y'all go have that. I'm enjoying the art
life you left
gallery in
behind.
Atlanta, the
The
bar.
Yeah.
The life you left behind. I am doing fine.
Yeah.
And we get it.
So I would imagine though, that the story that you all told about the almost divorce, and you went camping one day, and your friends have seen like what you all have become, right?
Yeah,
and so like y'all,
they know exactly what
Yeah.
happened.
yeah, y'all breaking out of the box probably broke some boxes for them. And another theme, like if I'm writing a book about y'all's story, or maybe not a book, but maybe not a story book, but a book that talks about what it means to be a Black person off-road, that one of those stories would be intergenerational. Because you all talked about friends who are your peers, elders who are parents of people that you know, nieces, nephews, the next generation. And even in the visuals that I seen, the video that I saw about the last gathering, there was some old heads out there.
Absolutely.
I mean,
everyone.
it looked like a family reunion, but people stayed outside, right? They stayed at the picnic. The picnic never ended. And that was a beautiful sight for me to see.
Yeah. I think the most profound thing that came for me from the gathering, there was a group of ladies, anyone who attended, if you saw any of the videos, Chasing Waterfalls, they came, they supported in full effect. It's a group of women that go out hiking and chasing waterfalls. But there's a lady, Lynn, I don't know how old she is, but she's one of our elders. She's on an interview saying that the spiritual connection that she experienced at the gathering out in nature way exceeded anything she's ever experienced in church. And then she prefaced that by saying she is a minister.
Yeah.
So for her to say that was just like huge. It
was rocking.
Yeah.
It was very, very rocking. And those women are amazing.
Yeah.
Their support for each other in their life journeys that they all bring to these hikes that they go when they chase these waterfalls. I mean, it's very powerful to see they uplift each other and encourage each other. And they're just there for each other. So if anyone is looking for community and they want to have that as a connection point, reach out to
them. If you're a Black woman in Atlanta, definitely reach out to them. But, I think what it really said is that we do so many things for peace, for healing. We go to church, we pray, we talk to our friends, we meditate, we do this. But one of the things that we as Black people don't do is, a lot of us have problems doing, is going out in nature and really connecting and grounding ourselves. Yeah. And like that peace and that healing
is worthwhile.
It's
everything.
It's everything. Like I said, even my knees don't hurt as much when I'm outside. They do not hurt as much. My 42-year-old knees, I'm good outside. I'm better than when
it's
I am.
It's amazing how when you're in a very
concrete.
positive environment, it's amazing how that affects your physical, your mental, your spiritual. Every part of the being should feel that kind of happiness and healthiness and positive energy. And we love to see it resonate. And it's really what it is, man. It's just a bunch of positive energy people come to experience each other.
Exactly. And our goal isn't for everyone to become overlanders. We understand that we are extreme. You know, we've always been a little extreme. Like,
We got to push our own boundaries. We're working through our own personal issues.
but, you know, the goal isn't for people to be overlanders. The goal is to become more comfortable, confident, and curious about outdoors so that you can get out and have your own adventure. It might be a hike through a city park in Atlanta.
Mhm.
It might be going to Chattanooga and, you know, doing whatever it is outdoors that you do, kayaking, whatever, just do it.
And those are the kind of things that we really like to emphasize. And we've been thinking of different ways that we could connect with communities and continue to grow that kind of thing. And I think the HBCU Alliance is one who is founded by Dan Ford, who is also an Aggie. Dan and Donna Ford are amazing, amazing people. And within the gathering, we partnered with them to help bring the outdoors experience to HBCUs.
Yeah.
We have the largest race, the HBCU Alliance race every year. What do you know what anniversary this one is? I think it's like
15 years here, but it's the largest Black-owned 10K in the nation.
Yeah, 501c3.
Yeah, it's beautiful, but there's this amazing connection of historically Black college, university, alumni organizations in Atlanta. And then there's also a chapter in DC, but the Atlanta chapter we partnered with this year to help encourage other people to get outdoors. We partnered with them in the past, or when the race was virtual, to show people trails that they can do locally around the city to connect with nature. And this year we partnered with them for the gathering to make sure that they receive all this goodness.
Yes.
I have a theory.
Okay.
And sometimes, you know, in my radical imagination, y'all have to forgive me, I'm sweating. My air conditioner don't work, and it's 105 degrees in Texas. So it's bad, but with the circuit breaker, like when it gets too hot, the circuit breaker switches off. So it's like, oof, it's dreadful. I'm gonna edit this part out, but I just had to let y'all know, if you see my face glistening on the camera, that's why my face is glistening. It's not because I put Vaseline on my face this morning. It's
just hot.
So I have a theory, and it probably, as I said, comes from my radical imagination, but I believe if there's any group of entrepreneurs who are best suited to lead or inspire Black folk to a level of liberation and independence and disconnecting from the mainstream, I think it's the Black people who work in the outdoor industry. I don't think it's going to be the tech people. I don't think it's going to be the people who are starting banks. I don't think it's going to be people who are planting churches or religious institutions or anything like that. Like, you can't mainstream the outdoors. Like, outside is outside, and we might bring a culture to it or something like that, but there's not like that tree is for white people. It doesn't exist.
Right.
No.
That mosquito bites everybody. And all of the things that we try to build in a lot of ways in this society are proxies or approximations of what occurs in the mainstream. But when you're outside, you're outside.
You're outside.
And I even think about the different states that you're going to take Black people to. And I'm not talking about connecting on a flight. Like, we got a whole Midwest, right? A whole middle part of America, the plain states that we have to explore. And I think there's going to be a tremendous shift in the way we think about even where we're going to live in the United States.
Yeah.
There's going to have to be.
Yeah.
With climate change.
Oh, yeah.
All the coast is going to be gone.
Yeah. Yeah. If you live in New Orleans, get ready to move to South Dakota. So, because it may not be there in 30 years.
Exactly.
Right. And I do think, we're scientists by training at North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University.
Aggie pride.
And coming from that type of background, you can't help but have the power of observation. It's just drilled into you. Dr. Ron McNair, who we all know and love, was in our physics department, and those kind of things are just sort of bred into you. And it is not a stretch for us to really start to understand. We are, as we have been traveling, seeing the direct effects of climate change, global warming, whatever it is that makes you sleep well at night. But we are witnessing
changing climate,
whatever that is, because it doesn't matter at this point, because we're seeing the effects of it. And it's like, whatever you need to wake you up within this existence that we are experiencing it. And it's important for us because we recognize that how we're getting around these days isn't the best way. So, we're thinking about the future of what migrations might look like because of changing conditions within the planet. So we do recognize that, and in helping people become more comfortable in preparing themselves to travel longer distances. What does that look like? A lot of the stuff that is set up for you to do camping is also essential gear for you
like
to survival gear.
Yeah.
If you're in New Orleans
Yeah.
and you need to leave, there are very fundamental things about just having your camp set up or equipment that we, promote not promote, but share what is important about camping gear that you should have, help you to meet emergency conditions if you need to leave your home for whatever the reason is. So we do think that the more educated people are about camping, it helps them also prepare for emergencies. And that helps the entire country. The more people that can save themselves is a good thing on resources. Yeah. So we're very happy to be at this table, in these seats, trying to bring attention to people becoming more comfortable being outdoors, being more connected with each other, and thinking differently about what their day-to-day life could look like by being more versatile in their travels.
Mm. Yeah.
So, and I another person who I'd love to mention, is Ron with HBCU outside.
Ron Griswold.
Griswold. We are working with him because he has that same spirit, that same energy, and the concept of bringing HBCUs more into the awareness outside industry, but also being connected with outdoors is amazing. And his vision continues to develop, because of his experiences and going out to Africa. But we are excited about working with him because we want the next generation of explorers, the people who are going to help with STEAM, science, technology, energy, arts, and math, because we have to learn how to live in a different environment under different conditions. Solar power, all of the alternative forms of energy, having some basic understanding of why it's significant, we think is important. And that's the kind of stuff that happens at the gathering.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a lot. Like what we do and how we do it, what drives us is so ingrained in so many different things. Just our understanding of the environment and climate change and all these things, our wanting to connect people and bridge people together. Because like you were saying, I really do believe that the outdoors is kind of like, it's a neutralizer. Yeah. Because everybody's affected by the outdoors the exact same way. And what we found is that since we have been outside, I can only speak for myself. My mind has been open and I've made friends with people that I never would have thought I would be friends with.
This is true.
But we were able to meet on common ground and really focus on the similarities before we started focusing on the differences. because the fact of the matter is when we started Overland and Off-Road, we were it. If we wanted to go with someone else, we weren't other white people, and we met like some of our really good friends. People we really do consider friends in that arena. People that we see eye to eye with on multiple levels.
Yeah, and they have also had their own journey. Because, when you're talking about what we want to do as far as building these bridges of connections, a lot of it is culturally. How are we all interacting right now is very tense within the nation. These unnecessary killings. And honestly, man, I didn't even know the Buffalo killing had happened. I was sitting over here dumbed when you said it. So that is how much is happening. And there is a energy on the planet right now that is very hostile towards fellow humans. And what we would like to offer is some peace and serenity and solace in ways to connect with each other by building that commonality. And that is why it's so important for us to recognize all of the different people within the country that makes up the construct of it, because you are going to be interacting with them in different places. And there's an opportunity that each of us has to redefine what the American is. And I personally think that an American should be a person that can have a beer, or if you don't drink alcohol, a drink with another human, a citizen of our country. And both of you walk away feeling like you contributed to each other, that you helped each other, that you have set a new standard for. I did not expect that. Yeah. I'm a better person for that interaction. And I think we can all do that by finding ways to connect. And for us, it's been through Black People Off-Road and certainly Staples InTents.
All right. That's a good ending. I got one more question. I got to ask, or just one idea, and then you all can respond to it. So I think, obviously a major theme, if I was writing a book about y'all, it's like love, right? And so y'all's love story begins at North Carolina A&T in the physics department. I think you said 15 years of marriage, rocky road, went camping one day, fell back in love. And it's interesting to me because I've only been married like 18 months. Before my wife and I got married, it's her idea. I wish it was mine so I could take credit for it, but it was her idea. We read this book called We Do by a marriage counselor named Stanley Tatkin. White dude, great book. And one of the exercises that he has you do in a book is write out your mission statement. And I think for us, although we don't go over the mission statement every day, like we know what it is, and it anchors us in a way that I think we wouldn't have been anchored if we didn't have that. Yeah. And what I see in you all is, if you all haven't stated it explicitly, maybe it's the mission statement of Staples InTents, but like you all are a couple who have a mission. And it seems to me like y'all's mission is like, has driven you together and like driven you towards other people. So as we end, can you all talk a little bit about the significance of you all's mission and the relationship that you all have with one another and the ones that you are growing outside of your marriage?
Wow.
Take your time.
You ask a complex question.
So I say, let's start with our mission and of Staples InTents, and then we'll talk about how that influences us. So what we do is through visuals, our YouTube channel, and curated experiences like The Gathering, we want to increase diversity in the outdoors by educating and inspiring people to become more comfortable, confident, and curious about outdoor adventure. And how we do that is we use our lives as the example. Yeah. And that's the only way we know to do it, is to take that thing that we found, that we created in July of 2016, and do it. You know, get out there and show people all the lessons that we learned and continue to live life as full as we can in hopes to inspire the next person.
Yeah, we are imperfect people, learning to love in a deeper sense. And as we have, the more we learn, the more it helps us to feel that mission.
Absolutely.
And we have a long way to go. You know, we didn't touch on mental health or any of that stuff and how important it is to get counseling, to read self-help books and to have these experiences. But those are the things that are near and dear to us because we live in such a trauma-filled life right now. And if we can help other people to find this kind of calm, we have won the day.
Mm-hmm. And just thinking of the drama and the trauma, I don't think I realized how affected I was by all the events of the United States until we were away and we truly had the opportunity to disconnect. When we were in Southern Africa for those 2.5 months, like there were days at a time where we didn't have a signal. So understanding what was going on in the world wasn't even an option.
And when we did, you know, we didn't know that you could only get signal or your internet would be configured for the countries that you're in. So they don't even have information about like the NBA finals.
And there are people that live like this every day. So just imagine how at peace they feel. Because I felt at peace like that for that 2.5 months.
It was a very different thing, but I think we can end there.
We can keep going. Langston, if you stay on the line with us, we will keep going.
No, I'm hot in this room. I gotta get out this room soon.
Because it's hot, right?
Listen, I'm like, y'all see my face is like way more glistening than it was when we first started. So Sonya and Necota, if people are looking for you on the internet, on social media, where is a good place for them to go to follow you and support what you're doing?
So Staples InTents. Our last name is Staples, so you remember, and we sleep InTents. So Staples, INTENTS. And pretty much on all social platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, our website is all Staples InTents. So we try to keep it real simple for people.
Right. So if you're looking to connect with us, that's the way to do it.
And I also remember y'all got a Patreon too. So if y'all in the audience want to support Staples InTents and get some extra bonuses, you can do that through their Patreon account as well.
Yeah, and through our Patreon, we give all sorts of behind the scenes content. We try to keep the main content on YouTube interesting, but there's always some behind the scenes stuff that we're like, we might not want to say that.
We let the Patreon see all of that kind of stuff, unedited footage, and maybe a little bit longer on.
And we try to be good to them. We send them Christmas presents and Christmas cards, and they get discount tickets to the gathering. So there are benefits. Patreon has its benefits.
Yes, we work for the people.
Sonya and Necota, I want to thank you for joining us. This is our first conversation that is part of a special series that will feature Black outdoor entrepreneurs. And I think it's appropriate to have the two of you, Staples InTents, two fellow Aggies, be the ones to kick this off. So I appreciate your time and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Langston.
Staples InTents.